Hello everyone, welcome to a new crash course in the English opening. Okay, today we are going to see uh, both the variations from the white as well as from the black's perspective, how to play the English opening. Okay, let's dive right in. Okay, the game starts with white playing the move c4. It's a traditional setup for the English opening. Well, there are two choices that black has, two or three. Let's see. The first choice that starts with the move c5, the most symmetrical, the most nice opening from the black's perspective. The second setup that black has is to play the move e5, which is also the reverse Sicilian. And the third response that maximum players try to avoid is to play the early d5 move because sorry, at some point white could just take after queen takes d5, white just gets this huge tempo with the move knight c3. So that's why it's a huge dead development. That's why many players try to avoid the early d5 move. And so after c4, let's see the e5 move. And after, let's say, e5, white chooses to play the move knight c3. White has two choices, or the move g3. It's perfectly fine, both the moves. Okay. The one thing that I want to discuss is what happens if white plays the move instead of g3 or something like. What if white plays the move e3? Well, against e3 is not that great because the idea of e3 is to develop this bishop. In the Italian game, like bishop c4, or like a real Lopez opening, the bishop b5. But in this case, it doesn't work because the pawn is just currently obstructing this bishop from being developed freely. So, let's say after e3, knight h6, knight c3, knight c6, and the move bishop to e2, this bishop is just still passive in this way. So that's why white should avoid this early e3 move when the pawn is on the c4 square. So instead, we are going to focus after c4 e5 by developing our bishop via this diagonal. It gives a perfectly attacking chances for the white's perspective. Okay, after g3, let's see. Black plays the move g6, knight f3, bishop g7, knight c3, knight e7, bishop g2, and let's say black castles. White does the same. Now black plays the move d6. Okay, after d6, white has a slow move. White could play the move d3 and get a solid position, or we could just play the move very aggressively with the move d4. We are attacking the black's center immediately, and black has to do something about it. And after e takes d4 and knight takes d4, believe it or not, it's a huge pressure along this diagonal. So after black has to be very careful in this line. And after, let's say, knight c6, we could just take and after knight takes, develop our bishop to f4 or e3. Both moves are good. And these bishops are just piercing along this diagonal. And white is slightly better in this line. So let's go back a few moves. After c4 and e5, white could just play the move knight c3 in this line. Sorry. But the immediate knight c3 move invites the move bishop b4. Well, there's a very huge theory after bishop b4, knight d5. I think the basic way to start the English opening is to try something uh, more aggressive and theoretical. So that's why avoiding the bishop b4 early is a good way to play the English opening. So let's say after knight c3, after knight c3, black plays the move knight f6, g6, g3, knight c6, bishop g2, and now black chooses to play the move bishop b4. Well, against bishop b4 is not a good move. The only reason is that white has this move, knight to d5. We are actually kind of attacking the two pieces at the same time. So black's choice is forced. Black has to take this knight. And after knight takes d5, we are not going to take with the bishop. Instead, we are going to take with the pawn. And after c takes d5, well, black has two choices in this game. Black can either move forward with this knight or move backward with the move knight e7. Let's see each method. The first move that I want to talk about is what happens if black plays the move knight d4. Well, against knight d4, this knight looks good in the sitting in the white's camp, but it's not going to stay here for long because we are going to kick it away with the move e3. Well, after e3, now this knight has two choices: knight f5 or the move knight b5. We are going to see each by turn. What happens if black just plays the move knight f5 in this one? Well, against knight f5, I'm going to recommend the move queen g4. Queen g4 is my double attacking move. It's a very unusual double attack. I've never seen this kind of double attack ever. Okay, after queen g4, we are attacking two pieces and we are going to win one of them. So let's see after e3 what happens if knight goes to the natural square b5. As you can see, these two pieces are very weirdly placed. So one could just take advantage with the move queen to a4, attacking the two pieces, and as usual, we are going to win one of them. So now let's see the retreating option that black has. After, let's say, knight c takes d5, what if black retreats to the e7 square? Well, believe it or not, it's the most safe square that black can get. After knight e7, white is going to continue the assault with the move knight s3. We are currently attacking the e5 pawn. And there are two ways in this line. The first is the most common blunder that black does in this line is to defend with the move d6. It does look right defending the pawn with the pawn. It exposes this diagonal. So queen a4 check is game over for black. So that's why d6 is a blunder. So after knight f3, what if black tries to play the move knight takes d5? This is also a more logical move, capturing the pawn and giving up this pawn. White could just take this pawn. Knight takes c5 is a decent choice. But I'm going to recommend a more deadly move, a more tricky move. So, sorry, after knight takes d5, we should play the move queen b3. We're attacking these two pieces at the same time. These both pieces are loose, and one of them is defending the other. So, if black tries to play the move c6, we are going to play the move e4 and force this knight away so that we can win this bishop and be a piece up in that line. So, it's as you can see that there's a huge potential in this line, and every move comes with a threat. And black has to be very, very careful in this line. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, after bishop g2, what if black plays the move bishop c5 instead of bishop b4? It's also a logical choice. Let's see. Well, against bishop c5, we could just play, let's say, knight f3 and continue our development by cancelling, playing the move e3. It's nothing great that's going on. But as you can see, this bishop is just putting a lot of pressure on the f2 pawn. So, keeping that in mind, white should play the move e3, blunting this bishop, and if this pawn wall is just stopping this bishop from creating any kind of play. So, after e3, let's say black castles in this line. After black castles, let's say knight e2, d6, and after let's say castling, many players will try to play the move bishop e6 in this game, and black just walks right into white's tricky territory. And after bishop e6, as you can see, these two pieces are just perfectly placed for a fork. So keeping that in mind, white should strike in the center with the move d4. We are attacking the bishop and the pawn. So black has to take, and after it takes, let's say if black retreats, then we play the move d5, and we are winning a piece in that line. So as you can see that this is also a trap that starts with a fork in this line. So instead of bishop e6, black should play the move bishop b6 in this line, getting out of potential d4. Well, against bishop b6, I'm going to recommend the move d4. We are striking in the center, and, and after let's say h6, because while black is not going to take and ruin his pawn structure and allow white to get a strong center, and the game goes on. We could just take, but we are currently giving up this center, and the game goes on. So let's go back a few moves. So after c4 and e5, sorry, let's see g3, let's say g3, knight f6, bishop g2, and what if black plays the move d5 in this line? Well, against d5, we are going to take, and after c takes, and let's say knight takes. As you can see, it just looks that as if black is dominating the center. This knight is well placed. This pawn is just controlling this d4 square. All is well for black. But with this one move, we are going to attack this knight twice with the knight as well as with the bishop. And the pro players will play the move knight b6. And in that line, we are going to continue with knight f3. So maximum amateur players will play the move knight takes c3. This just helps white in this line because after let's say b takes c3, we are threatening the move d4 at some point, and it just helps white to build strong center in this line. Not to mention this bishop is just active, very active in this line. So the game continues with let's say knight c6, knight f3, bishop d6, white castling, and after black castles, we will play the move d4. striking in the center. And e takes d4 is just fine. This pawn has a very good future controlling these two central squares, and it's fine. Maximum players after d4 will choose to play the move e4, pushing the pawn forward and hoping that this knight will just go to the move d2 and be extremely passive in that line. But instead, we are going to play the move knight g4. We are attacking the pawn twice with the knight as well as with the bishop. And if you look very carefully in this line, there's not much way that black can defend that pawn because it is just attacked twice. Defending with a pawn is the only resource by playing the move f1. But it's exactly what white wants in this move. And after f5, as you can see, this diagonal is slightly weakened. And white will take advantage of that diagonal by playing the move queen d3 check. And after queen d3 check, and let's say king h8, now we win the exchange with the move knight f7 check, rook takes, and queen takes. And it's going to be bread and butter to win this line. White is just clearly up an exchange, and white has a good piece activity. On top of that, white has a bishop pair. It's going to give a huge asset in the white's game, upcoming white's game. Okay, so let's see now a symmetrical move that black can try. Okay, after c4, what if black chooses to play the move c5 in this way? Well, then our move is forced. We play the move knight c3, knight c6, and let's say g3, g6, bishop g2, bishop g7. Black is just currently copying white in this line, and after knight f3, knight f6, both side castles, and we have to do something about this bishop. We could just play d3 or the move d4, but playing d4 is just very active in this line. We are threatening d5, so black response is forced, and after c takes, knight takes, and this is a very strong threat. Black can't just play d6 in this line unless he wants to lose a pawn. So let's say a6, knight takes d4 is good, but after queen takes d4, as you can see, this bishop is still very active in this line. Black can't just develop via b6 and bishop b7. So d6 makes a lot of sense. Well, against d6, we want to move our queen from this bishop because we want to keep that threat that anytime the knight could move and it's a discovered attack to our queen. So queen d3 makes a lot of sense. Don't worry about the move bishop f5 because we always have this move e4 in that line. So that's why after queen d3, black has to play the move, let's say a6, and we could just play b3 and fianchet our bishop via b2, or we could just play bishop f5, f4, or bishop g5. And this is a good position. Our knight can jump to the d5 square. It's a very nice position to play from the white's perspective. Okay, enough from the white side. Now let's talk this position from the black's perspective. Okay, from the black's perspective, I want to talk about a move that it's very tricky and black has a very solid winning chance in that move. Okay, let's start c4. It starts with the reverse Sicilian. After c4, e5, let's say g3, knight f6, and after bishop g2, c6. The idea behind the move c6 is to play the move d5. Okay, after c6, white plays the move knight c3, and we are going to go as usual with our plan with the move d5. and after c takes and c takes, and as you can see, black just got a very impressive center, and which is not that can be taken very easily. Okay, there are two ways that white can try. The first move is to, if white plays the move d3, then we continue with our usual plan, knight c6. And the second move is, what if white plays the move knight f3? Well, we could just play knight c6 and get a very strong center and a very pleasant position. The most tricky move that, according to the database, Lichess database, many players that have tried is to play the move queen b3, attacking this pawn not once but twice with queen, the knight, and the bishop. And as you can see, that there's not much resource that black has to defend the pawn. For example, if black tries to defend with the move bishop e6, black loses this pawn. So, and if pawn to d4, then this vital d7 pawn drops with the move bishop takes d7. And we don't have time to take this knight because we lose the rook in the corner. So that was the problem that black has in this line. Well, this is exactly black wants. Black plays the move knight c6 in this move, developing a piece. And there are two ways that actually white can take this pawn. The first is to, what if white tries to take this pawn with the bishop, and the second move, if what if white tries to take that pawn with the knight. Okay, so the first move we are going to talk is, what if white plays the move d3 and declining this pawn. Well, against this, we are going to play the move bishop e6. And taking this pawn is a disaster because of the move knight b4. And it's disaster because we are threatening the move knight c2. And on top of that, this queen is just getting into a huge trouble. And let's say king to d1, we just play the move a6 here. And after, let's say a3, rook b1. And after, let's say queen here, knight c6, and this queen is just getting into a huge trouble. So that's why taking this pawn is not that good in this line, and neither is declining this gambit. So well, let's see, what if white tries to play the move bishop takes d5 in this way. Well, against bishop takes d5, black response is forced. Black plays the move knight d4. We are attacking the queen, attacking the c2 square, which could be a potential fork in that line, and also threatening to deflect the queen from this bishop. Okay. Now, what if white tries to play the move bishop takes f7? Now we play the move king e7. We are getting out of that square, and now white plays the move queen c4 in that line because white has to keep an eye on this bishop, f7 bishop. Well, our choice is forced. We are threatening the move bishop f5 in that line. Now knight c2 is a huge threat, and also rook c8, and white is completely busted in this move. So there goes the move bishop takes d5. Now, what if white plays the correct move and goes ahead with the move knight takes d5? Well, our choice is simply forced. We have to go forward with the move knight d4. We are currently attacking the white queen, and this queen doesn't have that many good squares. Queen a4 check is just bad because it helps black to develop our bishop. and white has to keep an eye on this knight, the same as the bishop. The first move, let's see, the queen to c4, defending the knight. So after queen to c4, we are going to take, and after, let's say, bishop takes d5, still keeping an eye on the c2 square, we have a very tricky move that starts with the move b5. Well, bishop takes f7 is not that great, as we can see. Okay, bishop takes f7, king e7, and now queen to d5. And after queen to d5, our response is forced. We play the move knight c2 check, and after king to d1 and knight takes a1. As you can see, white will also take our rook, but in that line, we are if you put this position in an engine, it will give black a huge advantage in that line. Okay, so and on top of that, this knight is just coming out. As you can see, it's minus 1.2 for white in this line. So black is clearly winning in this line. And this knight is also coming out at some point. So that's why this line is not so great. Now the second choice, after knight takes, let's say here, and after knight to d4, instead of playing queen c4, white could also play the move knight takes f6. Well, against this, we have one move is forced. We have to take with the move queen takes f6. Now white has two choices. White could either play the move queen to d1 or play the move queen to d3. And queen f4 threat is as usual not that good because black has this move bishop d7. It just has to develop. So let's see the first move, queen to d3. Well, idea is if black plays the move bishop f5, white has this move bishop e4 in that line. So after queen to d3, our recommendation is we play this very calm move bishop d7. The idea is to play the move bishop d5 at some point, and also rook c8 will also come in. And if white tries to be greedy and plays the move bishop to b7, it's a huge advantage for black. And after rook to b8, or let's say bishop to b2, we play the move rook c8. And now knight c2 is unavoidable. And also bishop b5 is coming. It's a designable position. So that's why taking this pawn is not that great. Okay. So the most common move is if what if white plays the move e3 in the well against e3 they are going to play the move bishop b5 and the only move third move is white plays the move queen b1 and not many players know this position so they will just play the move queen c3 and believe it or not it's a huge blind because of the move bishop b and taking this bishop is just as you can see it's a fork and we win the queen. So after bishop b4, this queen is just almost trapped. If queen c7, then black should continue with the move bishop b6, and it's a huge disaster for white. So that's why Okay, now let's see. C4, E5, G3, mm, Knight F6, Bishop here, C6, Knight C3, and after D5, takes, takes, Queen B3, and after here, and as we saw that, and after Knight takes D5, and after Knight D4, White chooses to and take, and as you can see that the last move was White playing the move Queen to D3 in that line. Now let's see what if White chooses to play the move Queen to D1 in that line. Well, we have a very strong theory in this line that starts with the move Bishop F5. Our immediate threat is to play the move Knight C2. So White's response is forced. White has to play the move D3. And after D3, Black could play the move Rook C8, which suggests the old theory, but the new theory suggests the move Bishop B4 check. And King F1 is the only way to avoid, but I bet maximum players will play the move Bishop D2 in the game. It's a usual response that many players see that to block that check with the bishop. So against this, we are going to take, and play the move Rook C8. So White's response is forced. We are threatening the move Knight C2 or Rook C2. White has to play the move Rook C1, and after exchanging, it seems that our attack has just lost one, and White is just doing well in this round. But it's an illusion because Black has this move easily, and Rook C8 is coming, and it's a disaster. The engine suggests the move Knight F3, but even after this move, Rook C8 is coming, and the queen has to move. And after, let's say, Queen D2, now we play the move Knight C2 check, and after King F1, as you can see that, and after E4 takes, and Bishop takes E4, and let's say with White playing the move, let's say H4, Rook D1, and Queen here, King, and it's a disaster. Let's say playing the move A6, and after B3, and as you can see, the tactical shot starts with the move here, Queen to B2. This queen sacrifice is a very beautiful sacrifice. If White accepts, then you have guessed right. Rook D1 check, and after Knight D1, Rook takes D1 is a mate. Okay, hope you have learned a lot from this English Open. I will suggest that you try these lines in your games and see the outcomes behind those lines. Experiment, explore the ideas, and that's it. Hope you have enjoyed today's class. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.